Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I currently don't know what to call this, but it's definitely going to be movie based. And today we are going to talk about The Curse of La Llorona. I saw this movie about a month ago, and between thinking about what I want to say and trying to find the time to make the video for this, I've done a lot of thinking. When I first came out of the theater, I thought this movie was Since then, this movie is crap. It is the worst installment in the Conjuring universe, and the story behind it is just weak. Very, very weak. With that said, let's go ahead and get jumped in, and yeah, we're going to talk about The Curse of La Llorona, and I'm going to start with my non-spoiler review. So, like I said, this movie is crap, and it's very hard for me to say because I am a major, I love horror movies. This movie is not worth buying when it comes out on DVD. The only way I would buy this is if it's been out so long, it's in the cheap racks at Walmart or something. Yeah, it's very hard to say that I would add this to my collection. The only way I would add this to my collection, because I don't currently have a collection of movies, but there's collection in my head of movies that I would want when I'm able to start collecting movies. If that day ever comes, this would be on the end of my list for certain. This movie's not even worth renting. If it's on Netflix, I could see watching it then because, you're already paying for Netflix and there's a bunch of other stuff. And so the only way I could see watching it on Netflix would be okay, bored, it's nighttime, I love scary movies, I'm not really in the mood to watch anything else that's posted on Netflix. For the first half of this movie, really for the whole movie, it's all over the place. Majority of it is hard to follow. I feel like the origin story behind the myth of La Llorona, it went over very fast. I feel like they didn't really spend enough time talking about how she came to be and whatnot. There's only one small connection to the rest of the universe. I feel like it's not really a spoiler to mention, but the only connection to the rest of the universe is that the pastor who was in the Annabelle movie is in this movie, and there's a quick not even 5 seconds where it shows Annabelle, and he just talks for not even 2 minutes, the pastor does, about dealing with Annabelle and going through all that. But yeah, I'm surprised that the budget for this movie was $9 million, and the box office was $87 million for this movie. I feel like with the not very good quality of the movie that it should be lower box office wise. I feel like that's a good budget. I feel like they could have taken some other steps to make the movie better. It almost, to me, felt like a student-made film. But, yeah. The director is James Wan, and his two movies within the universe I would say are the best are the two Conjuring movies. I loved those, but we'll get into that some other time. But yeah, that's gonna be the non-spoiler review section of this movie. And we are now going to jump over the spoiler wall. We are now over the spoiler wall. You have been warned. If you have not seen the movie yet, you need to go see it and then come back and watch the rest of this video. Or if for some reason you just love to hear my sexy voice, you can listen on. I will say, with that being said, that you could watch this video, you could watch any review video, like spoiler review video, listen to any movie review podcasts that'll talk about it, and I feel like you won't really be spoiled. I mean, you might get more out of a spoiler review than you would actually watching the movie. I felt it was that bad. It's like an hour 40 minutes that I will never get back, or however long it was. I can't even remember how long it was. It was that bad. The thing I've noticed with this universe, especially the quote-unquote Conjuring universe, is that it seems to always be raining in the movies. Rain is a big thing for these movies. Like I said, the tale behind La Llorona was talked about very quickly. I feel like they could have spent more time on it. It's almost like the pastor, when talking to the mom, who happens to be a social worker, or not a social worker, a CPS worker, was almost afraid to talk about it in the church. And to me, you should almost feel like protected in the church. When La Llorona was on the screen, she did not seem very scary. It wasn't scary enough. The thing that irritated me about it was another obvious horror movie. Like, oh, these kids are in the house with candles. That way, it's harder for her to come to them because it's like lights out. She only appears in the dark. I find that hard with like ghost movies, in that case where it's like, oh, the ghost's afraid of light, but it's dark outside. Yes, I don't think she was very threatening. There was one scene, the whole movie, I was like, wow, that was actually scary. And it was like a 3-minute scene. 2-3 minute scene. Other than that, it was like, this movie's not scary, and it sucks a lot. Me personally, I thought the nun in The Conjuring 2 was scarier than freaking La Llorona, and she's the main character of the movie. Oh my gosh. This is yet another chapter in the universe. And on the poster, it says the scariest chapter yet. But it's not that scary. Like I said, the movie that started all The Conjuring and that movie sequel, The Conjuring 2, are both scarier than this movie. Which, by the way, because we're kind of branching out, don't get me started with the nun, because she was scary in Conjuring 2, but she gets her own spin-off, and it's like... Ooh. So, dark magic is what the mom, the CPS worker mom, is forced to get. It's what she's basically forced to get rid of Llorona, because like I said, she went to the church. She talked to the father. I forget what his name was, but she talked to the father of the church, and she said, is there any way you here at the church could help me, or, is there any way that the church can help me? And the father was like, no. Straight up, no. Because we've dealt with things like this before, and we don't want to deal with things like this anymore. And it's like, I was like, what the crap? You come to a church and it's like, I got some crazy crap going on. I need your help. I might need my house exorcised or something. And the church is like, sorry, we don't know what to do. Or we just don't want to deal with this. So yeah, there's that. But I think that there really could have been something to do for the church to do. Father did happen to mention the guy who works in dark magic to the mom. Like I said, I don't understand the church refusal. To me, how hard could it be to get an exorcist? I understand it takes up to months to have an exorcism done, unless it's like a dire emergency. Then the father can send a request to the what is it called? The dire or whatever. I forget what it's called, but it's like he can send a formal written request, emergency request, to basically his higher up, and then once you're granted on emergency notice, then you can do it. And it's like, if this is something that's actually that serious, that legit and serious, why didn't they do that? I mean, they could have spent 5 minutes and been like, okay, I'm going to send this letter to my higher up, and hopefully they'll say something, they'll approve it, and we'll go from there. And then they could have spent 5 minutes talking, him explaining that, doing a little bit of that process, cutting to her later that night, trying to put her kids in bed, because yes, La Llorona only comes when there's kids involved. Because the origin story basically for La Llorona is, it's about this Mexican woman who was married to this guy, had 2 kids, I believe, 2 kids. She found him cheating on her with a younger woman, and out of rage, she ended up killing her kids. And so there's a curse that you can basically send her after kids. It's really a myth. In my belief, it's a myth. A lot of people's belief it's a myth. Basically, because she drowned her children by summoning her, it's for her to try to make up for her mistake, her sin, by drowning her children. Jump scares. Jump scares were a major thing in this, because it would be like, oh my god, the lights went out, and then it came back on, oh my god, that was scary. Or there's a scene in there that actually is kind of scary, where the daughter is in the bathroom taking her bath by herself, which I don't know why the mom wasn't there, and she's like scrubbing herself down, and she says, wash, like, hey mom, it's time for you to like put the soap in my hair. And next thing you see is Llorona's like behind her, and all you see is like part of her body, and you can see like her hands dangling, and then you see like her hands reaching out to her head, and she starts like doing it, scrubbing the soap in her hair, and then it starts to get really hard, and she's like, ow, ow, mommy, stop, ow. Next thing you know, this is the crap I'm talking about. It's like, she's washing her freaking hair. What do you think she's gonna do? She's gonna pull her under. It was that freaking obvious, and I feel like that's a lot of the problem with horror movies today. They don't really live up to horror films of the past. I just really feel like they don't. To me, Nightmare on Elm Street, even though that was like 30 years ago, that's scarier. Any of those, any other Friday the 13th movies, those are freaking scary, but I love them. Almost any of the Halloween movies are scary with Michael Myers, but they're so good. They're very well done. Very well. The ending, I thought the ending was really stupid. Because, like, okay, so when the black magic, or the dark magic guy comes in, he's saying something about, okay, this cross is from the tree that saw her do her sins. And it's like the only eyewitness. And so when you make when you make a cross from this wood, it's the only thing that could kill her. And let's see. So she's trying to go after the kids. She's knocked out the dark magic guy. He made a barrier around the doors with wood chippings from that tree, because that's like the thing that hurts her. And so she toys with the daughter because she's got like this favorite doll, and then she like ends up with it outside. She almost breaks the barrier trying to get the doll, and then something happens and the barrier gets broken, and that's when she comes in. She knocks out the mom, she knocks out the dark magic guy. The kids are like running away from her upstairs. They're going up into the attic, they're hiding in the attic, and it's like, hey, you eventually you can't run from me forever or hide from me forever. And I'm just like, okay. It almost felt like when the ending was there, it was like, this movie just needs to end. This movie is just dragging on. I literally felt like the last 10 minutes were just dragging and dragging. It's like, oh, come on. But the boy has got her necklace, and and he opens it, and that like brings her closer to him, and something about, again, sorry if any of this is off. It's been about a month since I've seen this movie. I've just been trying to find time to make the video and figure out what I want to say, or how best to say it. But anyway, so she grabs the necklace and looks at it, and she looks up because they've pulled this like cloth off this full body mirror, old style full body mirror, and she sees her reflection, and she's like, ah! She's like scared of her reflection. And then something about, they took the cross and they shoved it on her chest, try to get her away, and somehow somebody ends up impaling her in the chest with the cross. And yeah, and that's how she dies. I kept thinking there was something else, but yeah, that's how she ends up dying. I'm like, okay, movie's really stupid. Anyway, my thought process at the end of this movie was that this movie was really stupid. James Wan, if you want to keep going with the awesomeness of the first two Conjurings, you need to like really bring it in, man, and like get in on it big time. Yeah. But anyway, so to wrap this up, because we're almost 22 and a half minutes here, so to wrap this puppy up, my score for this is a 4 out of 10. And I'll tell you right now, having seen this movie, I probably will not see this movie again. But if you missed this movie while it's in theaters, check it out on streaming. Literally. And, yeah, I mean, this is my opinion. This is all my opinion on this. You can totally tell me what you think about how it went. You can tell me in the comments section below. I'm going to try to leave my Twitter on there in the description. But yeah, so this has been episode 1. I'm not sure what we're going to call this yet. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to make it a weekly show, whether I'm going to make it a daily show, and it's like we're going to talk about this on this day and this on another day and whatever. But we're still in the works, and this has been my first reboot episode, The Curse of La Llorona movie review. And thank you all for taking the time listening to my voice. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your night, depending on what time it is when you watch this. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time, whenever that will be.